All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the December 14th annual or monthly school board meeting for the Metropolitan School District of North Posey. And we'll open the meeting by joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Before we get into the items on the agenda, I'd like to take a couple of minutes. There's a couple of people that this is their final attendance at this astute table. Brett is, this is his last meeting, 6 years, is that right?
Yes.
We very much appreciate your contributions to the board and your service to the community and willingness to participate in this, giving up of all your time, and just very much appreciative of that.
Well, thank you.
And then Mr. Bill, your last one too, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. What year did you start?
1982.
Wow. I'd like to say I wasn't born then, but I was 4. I was a little older than 4. Well, Bill, we can't say in words enough to thank you for what all you've done for this corporation and this community. But we do want to thank you for that and acknowledge it since this is your last one. So
Well, thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Bill. Thank you, too.
All right. First item on the agenda is patrons' concern. We don't have anybody marked or signed up for that, so we'll mark that accordingly. The next item on the agenda is the minutes, claim docket, and consent items. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent items.
Second.
One second.
We have a motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mrs. Will, to approve the minutes, claim docket, and consent items. Any comments or questions? The only comment I would make is we do want to note, following the theme of tonight, Janella Shelby is retiring after 35 and a half years of service to the school corporation. That's a tremendous amount of time in service, and we want to wish her congratulations and best wishes on her retirement, but also immense gratitude for her service. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. President, we also want to point out that you're going to be appointing Heather Bale and Melissa Merritt-Oaks to the Poseyville Carnegie Library Board, just so the public's aware that those will be our representatives.
Okay. Very good. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0. Before we get into new business, we did have a death in the school community, and Mr. Schmidt, you.
Yep. I just want to take a moment to recognize the passing of our longtime junior high shop teacher, Mr. Fitz. Excuse me. Nearly 30 years ago, Mr. Fitz helped guide me in selecting electrical engineering as my career path. He spent time before and after school helping me build things that I still have in my house today. And I would just like to thank him and his family for all the time dedicated to North Posey. Thank you.
Well said.
Thanks, Ed. You're good.
We had a moment of some good laughs a while ago when we brought up Mr. Fitz. Several of us had him for a couple of years and still could remember a few of his intricacies as a teacher and fond memories. But yeah, long time service and hate to hear the passing of him. Condolences out to the family. All right, so new business, Mr. Galvin.
So first up, last month, the board approved with Dr. Brad Balch with Indiana State University, the strategic planning process. And what I worked up for you this month is kind of an executive summary of that process as well as the budget. As you were aware, we are taking the normal appropriation for Indiana School Board Association. We're channeling that towards the strategic planning process. And this will be a process to really develop the vision, mission, core values, priorities, and action plan, as well as goals of the district moving forward, and kind of align all of our resources. And so what I did was something that could also be put out as a marketing with our community, because this was something that was reported back on the superintendent survey as the community wanting to see what the goals of the district were and stuff. So one of the things I wanted to point out tonight, Mr. President, is Dr. Balch shared with me that to help the corporation to try to reduce some expenses with that, he's willing to do some longer sessions. This would be like a 5 or 6 hour session, possibly on a Saturday morning. What we're mainly looking at is the first session would be towards the end of January. He has a couple of dates on January 23rd or 30th that we could do. And at that point in time, the board would kind of work through that process. And then we would, after that, I would meet with Dr. Balch through virtual meetings to kind of go back and review those items. And the board then in a working session in February, before our regular board meeting, would kind of come back and look over that work and make sure that they approved of that before we then sent that out to our community for input from them. The second larger session would mainly be with our administrative team, and that's where we would kind of take the priorities, the vision, the mission, those core values that you guys established, and begin kind of saying, well, what does that look like within the school on a daily basis with our staff and our students, and begin putting that action plan together and stuff. And that would be that second session that would be lengthy, but it would just be with the administrative team and myself. Once again, that would be a virtual meeting. We would then come back to a working session with the board again to kind of go through that process of what we are proposing to kind of do with that action plan and those goals. And then that third session would be all of us, the school board, superintendent, and administrative team coming together, kind of looking at that community input again, and kind of mainly coming to that point of where this is what we're saying is the strategic plan as we move forward, and approving that at that time. So that's the recommendation. If the board wants to go different directions and have some smaller meetings instead of those larger sessions, we can definitely do that. But Dr. Balch is coming from Terre Haute, and he just kind of said that this is a way that we could get it knocked out and get it kind of taken care of in a quicker fashion. So anyway, like I said, this is something that I put together that could be used to push out through social media to the community, just so they're aware of kind of what the process is going to be, where the community is going to be able to provide some input into the process, because we definitely want them to be involved in the process and sharing their input and stuff. So, and I can entertain any questions that anyone would have.
Is everybody comfortable with a Saturday morning session like that, or what's everybody's thoughts?
The only problem I'm gonna have with 23rd or 30th.
Wrestling.
Wrestling.
On both days?
PAC, or PACs are Saturday, and then sectionals start the next Saturday, like the 23rd and the 30th. So that.
And we could shoot for a longer night too, if you wanted to do something like that. That'd be a possibility too.
Yeah, I don't have any conflicts with either of those dates. So
I'm working on the 23rd.
Someone canceled all the junior high basketball games, so.
I tell you what, make one mistake and Larry, are those dates?
They're okay with me, yeah.
Where are we at on 30th?
It's sectionals at Central.
Sectional.
Shockingly enough, we have junior high games on both mornings.
Probably.
Yeah, I have girls game on the 30th as well,
So
if that happens.
Yeah, that's always a big if, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully they have, right?
Is there,
Yeah,
is the Saturday the only option we have, or is the
No, that
weekday
was-
an option as well, or no?
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely do an evening as well, and just kind of, have a later evening, start maybe about
We can
5.
start a little earlier
Yeah,
and
we could start about 5 and just have a working session and then go till 9:30 or so. So we definitely do that. You want to shoot for, still go ahead and shoot for end of January?
End of January would be, I mean, that week and a half is probably some good dates, because it seems like once you started getting into better weather,
Right. Okay.
January's generally not a month you want to get outside and do a whole lot of stuff in anyway, so.
Okay.
I'd say if we could, I don't know, it sounds like.
what's his work, it'd be his work schedule probably.
On the week of the 18th, which is 18th is MLK Day. I only work that day, the 18th.
So like
So the 19th, 20th, 21st,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be available any night.
Okay.
that 20th is
Is an inauguration.
inauguration day, but it's still wide open.
Yeah.
Check it out.
I don't know if we have a whole lot that goes on Wednesday nights.
So.
Larry, how about you? What do you?
I have nothing that I know of. Girls basketball sectional, I think, is the first week of February. I usually go to that, but
What about the 27th, Vince?
I'm working on the 27th.
Okay. Well, can you see if the 20th works for her? Maybe we can do like a 4 o'clock to 9:30 type of deal.
Mhm.
4 o'clock. Okay, I'll check with Dr. Balch. Get back with you guys.
Other than that, of the change of the date, we'll entertain a motion to approve the proposal though as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal as presented.
Second,
A second.
so a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the proposal for the strategic planning process. Any comments or questions?
I think this is great, something I've wanted to see done for a long time. Thanks for getting it set up.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You're still up.
I'm still up. Next up, you have a resolution, and in talking to area school corporations, this is a flexibility that the Indiana Department of Education provides schools. We are not wanting to do this. I think the only reason why school districts are adopting this resolution is in case COVID gets worse. We're having to actually close school down if we have a lot of snow this year, and that plays into the COVID issue as well. What this resolution will allow us to do is to use instructional minutes rather than instructional days. We're already over our instructional minutes. Our K through 6 is at 60,300, and our 7 through 12 is at 70,200. So all this resolution would do is give us flexibility if we needed it. I'm not saying we're going to use it, but if we needed it in second semester for the pandemic or something to that effect. So what has to happen is the board has to approve the resolution. We have to send it to the Department of Education, and then the state board has to approve for us to be able to use this.
That's what EBSC
That's
just
what I
did.
thought.
Correct. EVSC just did
There's several
this.
school corporations that have been passed.
Yeah. So several corporations have. I talked to Stacy over at South Gibson. They're doing it as well. So
Warwick
something-
is-
yeah, Warwick is as well. So
Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution authorizing performance-based accreditation waiver.
Second.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Schmidt. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, that motion carries.
Here's the resolution, I just need you to Jeff to sign it. Next up this evening, you have a recommendation for one of our short buses. I believe Todd had discussed this with you. One of our missionary in Haiti has a connection here in Poseyville, and we are proposing that we sell one of our short buses for $100 to be shipped over to Haiti to be used over there. I believe, as we shared with you, if we sold it or scrapped it out here in the United States, we only get about $600 for it. So it's not like we're going to be losing a lot of money in this situation. We feel like we're helping out an organization that definitely needs the bus. So.
Pretty good story there, the Schmidt family's been involved with, and I'd kind of like to see the resources and timeline of getting a bus from here, from Foley County, Indiana to Haiti.
To Haiti.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to follow that.
I know partial details of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion, we, sell a school bus for $100 for Haiti missions.
Second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion by Mr. Stock and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the sale of the school bus to the missionaries in Haiti for $100. I think it's prudent, and we would be trading this bus in. And, it's out of our commission already. So
All decals have been removed off of it and those kinds of things.
absolutely, it's no longer part of our fleet.
And it would be used to get students from their town up to the school.
Yeah,
That's very difficult.
I talked to Herb and Todd about it, and it's something like this group had built a school in one of the towns,
Mhm.
and it services two towns, kind of like Poseyville and Cynthiana.
Mhm.
And there's a creek or river or something that runs between those two, and those kids that live in one town have to walk to school. And so they have to walk through that river to get to school, and by them getting this bus to them, they'll be able to get the kids, and they won't have to go through the river or creek or whatever it is. But it definitely makes you think and appreciate what all luxuries we have, for sure. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0.
Next up this evening is the school calendar for next year for 2021-22. I sent with the proposed calendar options kind of a review of what we're going to propose as just kind of making you aware that according to Indiana law, the school calendar is a discussable item. It's not something that the Teacher Association actually has to approve. It's just something we discuss with them. For next year on the 2021-22, I would recommend, the Teacher Association would recommend that option 1 with the later start date of August the 10th, 2021. I think everyone feels like we're continuing getting earlier and earlier and earlier in our start. And so that August 10th, I think, is definitely a much better situation. The Teachers Association did ask, as we looked at future calendars, if we could start midweek or something like that. Sometimes it's just a little bit better to have kind of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday to start back, kind of get your teacher legs underneath you, get things organized, get classes set and things like that. In this situation here, the fall break remains the full week. Administration and teachers share the possibility of moving this break to the end of the grading period for instructional purposes. But for next year, we're keeping it at the same week because we figure that probably some parents and families already have their vacations planned for next year. But one of the recommendations that came out is that currently is about a week before the end of the 9 weeks. So they have that break and then they come back for 1 week left of the 9 weeks. And so that was one suggestion. And as well, Waylon said that where that currently falls at, we have 3 sports, cross country, football, and volleyball all going
on that week. I think cross-country is actually going into sectionals that week. So that's some of the issue too. He said if we could bump that down a little bit further, if we stayed with it, then that would help out with those sports and things. So the other thing that we are recommending too is we've always had built in the potential makeup days, e-learning dates. Really that has become something that is not needed anymore. I mean, we're just used to the e-learning, the virtual. It's become pretty well old hat now with the pandemic and COVID. So we're kind of recommending the possibility of just doing away with those days, and these snow days we would have would just be virtual learning. So that's kind of, we're bringing forward that recommendation for this evening of option number 1 for next year's calendar. And I believe that's the one that's up there as the name. Okay.
Yeah, I know, we've been looking for several years to figure out a way to get a full weekend in the fall. We've had 2 or 3 days, and it seemed like we could have easily found a couple of days to add to that week. And several of the families had requested that pre-COVID. Obviously, COVID changed the world. But that week, that first week is typically a big week in Evansville with that West Side Fall Festival. And not that has to be the reasoning behind that. The main reason is to give a full week in the fall. A lot of the families were looking at an opportunity to take a vacation in that time. That was outside of the summer. The summers are so full and busy, and they'll have the 1 week that has the moratorium of the July 4th. But that also is the most expensive week of the year to take a vacation. So just some background on that.
And that was a great week this year. I mean, with the COVID and everything, that week was perfect.
Yeah.
And really helped us out a lot. I feel like Mount Vernon, if you remember correctly, about 2 weeks, I think, after we came back from fall break, they were shutting down because of they didn't have that built in. And so those 2 weeks really, I feel like, helped us reset and get us to the point of where we are right now. So, yeah.
All right. So we need to take action on the 21-22 calendar, correct?
Yes.
So I entertain a motion to approve option 1 as presented by Mr. Galvin.
I'll make a motion to approve the chosen 2021-22 school calendar as presented by Mr. Galvin.
Second.
I'll second.
A motion by Mrs. Will, seconded by Mr. Oakley to approve the chosen 21-22 school calendar as presented by Mr. Galvin. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
So just wanted to kind of make the board aware on the 22-23 option. Option 1 and option 2 does kind of help out in scheduling that first day of school during the middle to the end of the first week. My personal opinion is I would not recommend option number 2 because I don't feel like beginning on a Friday and that being the first day really, to me, that doesn't really serve a lot of purpose. I would much rather start on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And I think that other option does. Fall break, the Teachers Association, and this is just the governing board, kind of their governing board has recommended going back to a 2-day break, that Friday and that Monday, connected with the weekend. Option number 2 that you have there retains the week-long fall break, but it does move it. And as Jeff pointed out, we have the Fall Festival in Evansville. The other thing too is that our career tech kids, EVSCs, I believe, is that first week as well. And so they would be, missing some of those situations or still have to go down there during that week and stuff. So, but moving that's kind of a compromise with our athletic schedule, as well as that then moves it to the last week of the 9 weeks, kind of comes back to that. What we have asked is for the teacher, because I think from everyone I've heard this year, everyone loved the week-long fall break. And so we've asked the Teachers Association to send these 2 options out and ask for a vote to see which one the teachers really want, whether they want to go back to the 2 days or stay with the week long. And so that's kind of what they're working through that process right now. We'll get back with us on that. But I just wanted to bring it to the board so that you guys were aware of it and see if there was any, as Jeff said, there was definitely some benefit in having that week-long fall break there. So,
We worked awful hard to get it in. I hate to see it come out.
Teachers rule,
Do I?
teachers rule.
So anyway, so that's kind of some, like I said, I just want to kind of keep you guys updated. We'll kind of see. Keep in mind, this is, as I'll come back to what my first statement was, this is a discussable item. Does not necessarily mean that we have to go that direction. So if we want to keep the full week, then we can definitely do that.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Next up, Mr. President, you have there the request for professional leave.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the professional leave request.
Second.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mr. Oakley to approve the professional leave request as presented. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Reports.
First off, ISBA has recognized this board as being an exemplary board. You have received up here the Exemplary Governance Award, and this was from the spring regional meeting. So congratulations. I know you guys have been worked very, very hard at attending the ISBA conferences and those kinds of things. And special recognition also goes to Mr. Oakley and Mr. Schmidt. I believe each of you guys got a little pin this evening as well. So we appreciate your support. So next up, COVID-19 update. As you are aware, we did cancel the junior high, or actually postpone the junior high and the elementary sports seasons last week and this week. So we rescheduled the majority of those games for after the Christmas break. My goal is I plan on playing basketball come January. So fingers crossed. You have the updated COVID cases there. Several of these, especially the junior high and at North Elementary, those big groups are going to be coming back probably starting tomorrow. So they'll be joining us back in regular education classes again. So as you can see, our positive cases have really remained low. And I think that I want to give kudos to our staff. I think that's been the reason why they have been so low, is because of just our custodial staff have done a phenomenal job on keeping our facilities clean, as well as our bus drivers too. And most of the cases, if not all the cases, have been more so from outside of the school coming in. So I think that says a lot. But as you're aware, we're trying to do weekly updates of this and get this pushed out to the community. Each of the individual schools, especially right after Thanksgiving, we knew it was going to be changing very quickly. So they've just kind of been pushing things out from the individual schools, and we've been doing the weekly update on those. Any questions on the COVID? Okay. You have next up your good news report. And as you can see, a lot of things going on in our district to benefit our kids. And I just really commend all of our staff and trying to keep things as normal as possible as we kind of go through this year. So a lot of great things that will be pushed out tomorrow through our social media. But I always like to give you guys that as well, so that you can see that. Also, we were recognized as a district of by Riley's Kids Caring and Sharing program. And so this is a great opportunity. I know I've participated in this for several years as a principal and even as a superintendent. And so we were able to give raise at least $1 per student enrolled in the corporation. And so that says a lot about our district and our principals and staff. So we want to congratulate them on doing this. And of course, always the thing I always liked about Kids Caring and Sharing is a lot of our kids personally benefited from this program by going up there to Indy, so to Riley Hospital. So it's a great opportunity. And then you have the fuel reports in there. And you have the 2021 school board calendar in there in your packet as well. One of the things that we did change is we try, instead of having an additional meeting for the budget hearing, we will do that at the September board meeting. I try to have everything ready to where I don't have to have you guys give up another night being with your families. So our goal is to have that ready for the September board meeting for the budget hearing and to fit within our normal monthly meetings. So. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Does anybody else have anything for the good of the cause?
Something that's a little bit random, but the facility use, we used to approve all of those. We got away from that, and it seems like it's worked a whole lot better. But when that change was made, it was mentioned of possibly putting a calendar on the website that showed when they were in use. And I thought maybe now would be a good time to look at that since they aren't being used at the elementary and junior high levels. So maybe it'd be a good time to look into that again.
On your good news item, you got the 5 football players that received conference honors.
Oh,
As well.
Scott didn't send that to me.
Well, maybe you can get it from Wayland or Scottsville.
Get that added in before I push that out.
Yeah, before you put your nut, you have to send that.
Since we're talking sports, I will also tell you that now we are no longer ranked 2 in wrestling. We are ranked number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well,
Good.
Yeah,
They had a great duels.
they did have a great goal.
PAC duels, they were undefeated and PAC champions with that, right? Outstanding. Brett, you have anything for your last platform here?
Well, I just want to thank, mainly I want to thank the, just Metropolitan School District, North Posey community for just allowing me to represent them on the school board for the last 6 years. It's been an extremely rewarding, and I feel like a huge privilege to get to do that. Thank each one of you, and just for being extremely professional and dedicated to this board. I want to thank Todd for just his tireless work and dedication to the school district, and wishing him the best in his retirement coming up. Just in the last 6 years, and I take no credit for it at all, but just the tremendous strides that the school district has made through, through different, the new builds, implementing different things for educational purposes, just the upgrades in our facilities. I just don't think that you can compare our school district and find another one in our area that has done more for their students and the facilities than North Posey has. And I think the community should be very proud of this school district. And, for the outstanding schools we have, for the just amazing administrators, teachers, and staff that we have working in the school district. Making a better future, for our kids. And I believe that our greatest accomplishment as a board was the hiring of Mr. Galvin to be our new superintendent and to lead the school district to the future. So, and last, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Colley.
Thank you.
I know Larry will be a great addition to this board and far outweigh what I brought to the table.
I don't know about
So,
that.
Larry, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Brett. That's well said. Come on, you have the floor if you want.
Very briefly, Brett, thank you for what you've done. you summarized things very well, so I'm gonna echo your sentiments. Thank you for the time that you've been on the board. Our facilities and our virtual learning and just so many other things are top notch for a school our size. So a lot of people have done a lot of things right. It seems like too much focus on the negativity sometimes, but there's been a lot of things done right. So I wish North Posey the best.
Well, I will follow that, and Brett hit on it. You know, and I'll go back 8 years in the improvements that have been done to the schools, the buildings, the changes. I agree, I've served on some statewide committees on the school boards and talked with several people. I would challenge and try to find another community our size, our school our size, that's done what we've done in the last 8 years in terms of improvements without a referendum, without, you know, we had a small increase in the taxes at the end, but we've really done a great job with the finances and positioned the school into a really good position to be in to go forward. And that's been due to a large part of this board's willingness to look at different ways of doing things and not be afraid to take on some new challenges. But I also give the credit to this guy right here, because he's been very instrumental in helping maybe get some of those projects off of center, continue to go forward. They've not all gone as smooth as we'd like, but your service and help along that way is greatly appreciated. The community will never know or value entirely what all you've been able to contribute. So appreciate that, Mr. Bender.
Thank you.
I do want to send some well wishes out. Dr. Camp has an impending knee surgery that we are all aware of, and that's scheduled here in the next week, I believe. He's been looking forward and dreading this all at the same time. So we wish him well with that surgery and nothing but the best in recovery and his upcoming retirement. I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything? The next meeting's January 11th here in the central office. And that'll be our reorganization meeting as well. It'll be Mr. Colley's first meeting. We welcome that. And if there is nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to be adjourned.
Second?
One second.
So the motion by Mr. Schmidt and seconded by Mrs. Will to adjourn, and we so are adjourned. Thank you.